So this is summer 2023. I'm sure many of you by now have already started your streaming binges for the summer. Whether it is to watch a whole series in just a few weeks, or to perhaps catch a few movies that you've never heard of before. Whatever your television or movie preference is, I'm sure you have a ton of streaming services that you have been searching for, or perhaps you're about to start to search yourself. Well, before you get too far, I did want to allow a moment for me to tell you all about some amazing free streaming services. Let's get started. First of all, if you don't know me, I am Brandon, and I am the host here of the Bran'sTech YouTube channel. I'm excited to have you all here today. So, I am someone who absolutely loves television, and so for me, free streaming services are my new place to go. So there are a lot of different options when it comes to free streaming services. For me, these include Tubi, Freevee, the Roku channel, and of course Pluto TV. These are just some of the amazing options that are out there. So you may be wondering, are these services actually free? And so the answer is yes. These services are free and legal. So the trade-off here is that instead of paying, monetary value for these services, you're instead paying with watching advertisements, whether it's those at the beginning and end of your programs, or perhaps in the middle. And with this, it's able to help pay for the cost of having these programs on the services. And overall, I think that's actually just such a small price to pay for what, in my opinion, is such a large and vast array of amazing programs. So for me, I use all four of these services, and I think that they are honestly just such a great addition to any television viewing. So, two things I want to mainly point out about these services. The first one is the linear viewing. You may wonder, what exactly does that mean? What that means is that you can actually just tune on to the channel, and you can simply just sit back and relax. There's nothing that you have to do. Many of these include no fast forward options or no rewind options. Many of them not even a pause option. But yet, as inconvenient as this may sound, but yet it is actually so satisfying to just tune on a linear station and have to do nothing. Meaning that there's generally no pressure for you to watch these shows. You just simply have it on. And by doing this, I don't feel as much pressure if I'm trying to do something else in the process, because I know that it can just keep going. That I don't have to check back in 20 minutes to move on to the next episode, or have to remember exactly every single plot point. But instead, knowing that I don't have control sort of alleviates that stress from you. So for me, as someone who loves 1980s television sitcoms, I might just pull up the Family Ties channel and just let it play throughout, and simply just immerse myself into that world. And for many of these free streaming services, they have numerous different stations based off of genres, interest, or maybe even popular shows. This makes it so convenient for you to go ahead and find a show of your interest, and many of them also have opportunities for you to meet new shows. For instance, I came onto the channel WB Altogether on Tubi because I enjoyed the 2021 revival of Head of the Class. And sure enough, because of that, I was able to introduce myself to new shows such as Better With You, Scarecrow and Mrs. King, and 8 is Enough, that I would have probably have never found had I not used the Tubi streaming service. So overall, I think that having these channels are just so amazing. But that's not the only thing I love about free streaming services. Because of the wide variety of shows, there are so many on-demand shows across these services as well. And there are just so many to choose from all different decades. So it gives you a nice way to introduce yourself to new content you have never seen before. Especially if you're tired of rewatching that same episode of that one show that you just can't get your mind off of. If you've been there, I know the struggle, but no worries, there are just so many shows to choose from. However, you may ask, are there some downsides to these services? The answer is yes. So, unfortunately, because television is property just like anything else, not every show is available on these free streaming services, especially some of the more recent popular ones, such as The Big Bang Theory, Modern Family, or any of those shows. I personally don't watch many of them, like the ones I just mentioned, but nevertheless, if you do, they probably are not available on free streaming services, at least not as of right now. However, there are still plentiful shows to choose from, and I just think it's amazing just how many options there are. But I will say too that is because of certain rights issues, some shows may be scattered throughout streaming services. For instance, a show may have 2 seasons only available out of the 6 they have, whereas other shows might simply have episodes in the wrong order, and that's to be expected. But at the very least, some content is better than no content, and I would really hate for these shows to just be lost to history. So I'm so glad that they were able to at least find a home. As you're hearing now, I know many of the paid streaming services are losing a plethora of shows, and I hope that they do end up making their home on these free streaming services. If you use any of these services, let me know in the comments which services you use and which shows you choose to watch. I'll let you all know mine in the comments below if you have any questions. But until next time, have a wonderful day and enjoy your summer. Happy 4th of July, everyone. Take care.